Good evening, everyone. This is Jaya Mrinalini, PhD Research Scholar from the School of Education, Central University of Gujarat. I'm going to present my research study titled Right to Education Act 2009 and Secondary Education Opportunities Among Tribal Communities in Jharkhand. It comes under the sub-theme of qualitative research, and the study has been done under the supervision of Professor H.B. Patel Sir, Dean, School of Education, Central University of Gujarat, Gandhinagar. I would briefly like to introduce my research topic. So, the overall literacy rate of Jharkhand is 66.41%, and the dropout rates are quite high compared to the national average, where only 30 out of 100 finished schools in which the dropout rates among the STs are the highest among all the community. The Government of India brought the right of children to free and compulsory education 2009 to overcome the persistent problem of enrollment retention and quality education to the masses. This study looked at the case studies of tribal students according to the theoretical angle of Pierre Bourdieu, who identified the existence of dominant culture in the schools, resulting in maintaining social inequality. So, keeping in mind the role and the significant role of elementary education to reach the secondary education, this study is an attempt to explore the role of the Right to Education Act in the state of Jharkhand and the extent to which it has proved as a benefactor to the secondary education opportunities among tribal students in the state. So the two objectives of the study are: it focused on understanding the role of the Right to Education Act 2009 as a benefactor to secondary education opportunities among tribal in the state of Jharkhand. It also tried to understand the challenges faced by different stakeholders involved in the process of implementing the act. These are the four research questions. Moving on, the study follows a case study research design from a qualitative research. So to understand whether the existing policy, act or law is helping the most disadvantaged section of the society or not, it is important to know the perspective of all the stakeholders involved in the implementation process. So to understand the real scenario, context, feelings and opinion of the people, the qualitative research has been used. So the sample of the study are government secondary school tribal students, their parents and teachers from 18 blocks of Ranchi district, secondary school tribal students enrolled in private schools under 25% reservation category of RT Act 2009, their parents and teachers located in Ranchi city. So the technique used for data collection was interview schedule, which was a semi-structured, informal and open-ended interview conducted with tribal students, their parents, teachers and the state and regional level government functionaries. Also the secondary data sources such as document, newspaper articles, different documentaries and annual and monthly reports were used as documentation evidences. The qualitative data were analyzed using the thematic content analysis method, and the collected data out of collected data, a total of 6 themes were identified along with multiple categories, keeping in mind that they fit the data accurately. So moving on to the results and discussion part, as I mentioned that there are 6 themes identified. The first theme is the different perceptions related to the RT Act 2009. The parent whose kids are studying in a government school, they are not even aware about the act, nor do they feel that there's any kind of qualitative improvement in the kind of education being imparted at government school. However, the scenario is quite different, where a parent of a student who is studying under 25% reservation of the RTA Act, he stated that before the RTA Act, he could not have even thought of sending his child to a private school. But today, his two daughters are studying in a good private school, which actually makes him happy. Now, there are other aspects of the act. There are different other perceptions also related to the act. Like a block program officer stated that no doubt RT Act provides education to all children, irrespective of the background they come from. But time and again, they have to do lots of inspection at school to see whether they are whether the teachers and head teachers are adhering to the provisions of the RT Act or not. And the most problematic part for them is to involve private schools in implementing the act. They don't attend the meetings when they call them, nor do they feel any obligation to give status about the implementation of the RT Act in their schools. The second point is access and approachability. So, no doubt that after Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and RT Act, the number of schools in the state have increased. There are now 44,835 schools, out of which 40,343 are government school and 4,492 are private schools. When we talk about the approachability aspect of the 25% reservation of the RT Act, I would like to mention one of the narrative of a parent when he said that while he was trying for his daughter admission in a private school in the year 2012, there was no such widely available information about the RT Act. He saw an advertisement in a newspaper and he took a paper cutting of that and went to some of the renowned schools in Ranchi. However, some of the big schools refused straight away and said that there is no such provision which he is mentioning. Some of the school even said that they calculate the distance of the school and home through bus routes, so his he doesn't fall under that criteria. And one school got finally got ready to give admission to his daughter. He was late there, but after appealing so much, the principal of that school accepted and his daughter got admission in that school, and she's continuing today in the same school, and next year she'll appear for her 10th board exams. However, today the accessibility of information is like today they say that they get information easily, but the admission process is still difficult in private schools under this provision. The third point is admission process experiences. The enrollment rate has shown considerable improvement in Jharkhand. However, related to admission process experience, there are different perspectives. The parents of a government school shared his experience that they just had to arrange few basic documents such as birth certificate, Aadhaar card, and address proof. The entire admission just took an hour, and the hour because there were other parents too, and the head teacher and other teachers were filling the details of their kid, and they were collecting document proofs accordingly. So there were no much hassle related to the during the admission process. The experience was quite different for parents whose child were admitted under 25% reservation of the RT Act. One of them responded that he had to visit school 5 times. He could produce all the document that was required. However, they had to face lots of discrepancies also while making document for the child, and they had to pay bribe to the middleman to make to produce such documents. So there were quite that was quite a difficult time for them while they were applying for the admission process of their children. So the fourth point is school's environment and surrounding. So there were multiple responses came from students regarding when they talked about their school's environment and surrounding. Here I would like to mention only one. Uh, so one of the student, I'll just read exactly what she said. One of the female students studying in ninth class of a government school in Ranchi town said that my social science teacher stays in the same apartment where my grandfather works as a guard. We stay in a room at the parking space of the same apartment. My teacher sometimes asks me to bring samosa, which is a snack, in the evening for their family. She gives one piece to me also. She drops samosa on my hand in a way that her hand doesn't touch mine. I just feel that although in class she teaches us not to practice any sorts of discrimination, be it on the basis of caste, region, religion, or anything, however, in practice she is doing exactly opposite of that. This was the response from a girl student studying in ninth class. There were other responses too, like a student studying in ninth class in a private school under 25% reservation category. She stated that I never faced any sorts of discrimination in my class with my classmate or at the level of teacher. However, the only time I feel that I am different from the other students in my class is when my name comes in a fee defaulter list, because it is really difficult for my parents to arrange such large amount of fees. The fifth point is student support strategies, where both government and private school students did not say anything about academic support. They don't get any extra academic support other than the classroom teaching. Uh, Private school, one of the private school authorities, while talking about providing any kind of academic support to the student of disadvantaged community, said that they believe that initially students who are admitted under this category of 25% reservation, they do well in lower grades, but then for school it is not possible to give any extra coaching to these students throughout the year. However, if any external agency supports them, then they can do well even in higher grades. Otherwise, there is a big problem for them to perform well in their later grades. The sixth point, that is school management community. Uh, Though the ASER report of 2014 states that 94.7% of schools in Jharkhand have SMCs and meetings are held in almost all the schools. However, one of the parents of a tribal children said that I'm hardly able to attend SMC meeting organized by school, as he's a daily wage laborer and can't afford to miss even a single day of his work. Also, one of the parents said that only those who are close to the sarpanch and the head teacher say that only they have their say during the meeting, rather than they just go there to give their attendance. Now, the conclusion that can be drawn from out of it is that no doubt there has been increase in the enrollment rate, and RT ensures maximum enrollment at school, but even after 11 years of its implementation, there are multiple issues still impeding its implementation process. The first is the quality of education that is being imparted at government school. Now, also that there are in the SMC members are hardly participating in the school development process. They are hardly aware. There is a lack of awareness too regarding that. Also, in 25% reservation admission of the in private schools under the RT Act, there are lots of discrepancy in the admission process. The parents had to really have to suffer a lot in terms of producing documents. Uh, Also, students who are admitted there, they don't get any extra academic support from the school. And the major point is that there is no timely disbursement of funding by government to the private school. There are lack of proper orientations for teachers, parents related to the RT Act. So one of the study said that it is a high time for all the stakeholders to work collectively in implementing the different provisions of the RT Act. The vision of the Act shall be achieved only when all the children of 6 to 14 years of age will get quality elementary. These are some of the references that I refer for my study. Thank you so much.